Welcome everybody to the Wednesday, October 11th meeting of the Sustainability Committee meeting. And we meet regularly and it is at 6:32 p.m. Good evening. And our first order of business is any citizen comments.
Didn't receive anything.
All right. First agenda item is to consider approving minutes for the September 13th, 2023 meeting and take appropriate action. Are there any comments about the minutes from last month? Guys over there, just, yes. Okay, is there a motion to accept the minutes as written?
Yeah.
All right,
I'll make the motion.
Lauren makes the first motion, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, see that, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries, thank you.
Who else voting?
Everyone is voting today.
Oh, aye.
Opposed?
I'm so used to being quiet. I wasn't sure.
Lacey, you have to be quiet tonight. Okay. Next agenda item is to receive a staff update on the Parks Department initiatives.
All right, so you guys have asked a lot of Parks questions I didn't know the answers to, so I brought Parks here. This is Urbano, and so he'll kind of maybe talk a little bit, but just really kind of be here for questions on anything that you guys have kind of brought up in the past. Someone that knows a lot more about it than I do.
So I am a parks manager here for, parks here for the city of Public Branch, and I'm also a resident since the 1991. I've worked here for the city for going to 15 years now. I've been a manager for 3. And the other, the rest of the time I was actually worked in chemicals. I was a chemical applicator and, a crew leader. So the areas that I'm in charge of would be the facilities, a lot of the, some of the parks, some of the buildings, and I'm also over the ball fields crews, the maintain the ball fields, and our chemical crews. Is there any questions on what is the question that y'all?
Well, I didn't catch your name.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm bad for it. Urbano Olivas.
Can you spell it, please?
Yes. URBANO. And last name OLIVAS.
Your office number?
My office number is 972-919-2526.
I didn't need that.
I think Suzette was gonna go for the soul.
I know. I get it.
Thank you for coming on.
Yes, thank you.
Of course. What are your concerns?
Can you give us a little update of the new park that they're doing that?
I'm not over that project, but I could tell you the landscape part of it. We are putting a lot of drought tolerant and native plants in that park. And it was actually one of the things that we needed to do. We couldn't put any other type of plants, but
Are we talking about the Hoya Park?
yes, for you. It's gonna be a very beautiful park. Hopefully,
Right by my
we'll
house.
open it pretty soon.
Have y'all considered doing the drought resistant, on like the medians in some of the,
Yes, and we've actually been doing that, in Brookhaven.
okay,
A lot of the, plants we put in there were, a lot of, sage, polyester, which are butterflies love.
Yeah.
A lot of, lantana and yuccas, which are very drought tolerant.
So by medians, we had talked about that here in this committee about doing drought tolerant plants in the medians, and like this Valley View marsh
Yes.
to the bridge, all that shrubbery is gone. It was recently taken down. What is the plan for that?
On, well, that's actually one of the medians that we are planning to redo. pretty soon, and we're actually gonna be doing, a lot of drought tolerant couple plants. But first, we're gonna be, working on Bellwood. I don't know if you noticed, we've, got a lot of damage from freezes this past 2 years. We had some really bad freezes, and I don't know if it affected your homes also, but landmine is gonna be, jasmine. You've probably also seen a lot of trees, you know, we lost a lot of trees due to the freezes. And the ones that we survived were really stressed, and then this summer, the heat just got a lot of them. But we are replanting trees. Last year, we planted around, my best number was around 38. And we will have, hopefully, if everything goes well, we're gonna have 25 more trees planted before the end of the year.
So when you have to replant a tree, are you putting in a new tree or are you putting a tree that's equivalent to what was there?
We tried to do equivalent to what was there. The only thing that the issue is that getting them established. So if there's no irrigation in that site. We tried to locate another area where there is irrigation.
Can you tell us a little bit about the parks project that's connecting like underneath the corridor and it's like pulling in that area close to Irving? I forget the name of that.
Oh, okay. John Bird Beach Preserve.
Yeah, I think you tell us a little bit about that, and I think that as a committee, we would love any areas where you see we could support you guys and what you're doing, or areas of need. We'd love to help out with that.
I don't know, I wasn't part of that one park, but I could probably get y'all more information about that later on. And I just
Yeah,
to
and I'll funnel it through.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, because I know that that's been a big undertaking that you all have taken on. So
But we're finally done with it.
Yeah.
We are working on getting the restroom open actually, right now.
okay,
Well, and I think we'd identified a couple other small little park things that we wondered, those could be converted to the drought resistant. What is that small one that you keep talking about?
Bicentennial.
Bicentennial.
Bicentennial is
Yes.
the one that's just nothing but dirt and trees and like a park bench.
Yes.
And our picnic table, I mean, and that was when we said, well, that could probably just use native grasses because it doesn't look like it really gets used that much, but it's still technically a park.
And that's actually on one of our lists to update a little bit, because nobody was really using it at one point, you know. And then I believe there was actually some picnics there, picnic tables, but then they just pretty much, nobody was using it. But I'll bring that up and that's what we could do.
And it was the same one with Creek Ridge on basically kind of on
Web Chapel?
Web Chapel and La Vida, where to get to it, you have to risk life and limb. And we were actually thinking what, and I have a friend, the reason I asked is because he brought it up to me that he lives just 3 houses from Web Chapel right by there. And he says nobody's ever there, but they maintain it, they mow the grass, you know, there's fuel used in the mowers. And he said that would be, if there was a rewilding area for the city, that might be a good one, like almost like a trial one to do.
There was plans around 6 years ago to actually put in a park that they made actually plans and everything for it. But I think the big issue was like the parking, putting in parking in
Right,
that area
yeah.
being such a
Dangerous, yes, you can say it.
But I'll get more information.
Yeah, because that's one that it would be nice just to have, instead of grass that you have to stop the crew on Web Chapel and get everything out and mow and maintain it that way, to put in, like you're doing with the medians, the native grasses, the flowers, and have pollinator trackers.
Oh, that would be great. Pollinators.
You see,
Does the city have a pollinator garden anywhere? I don't.
we have one in the Rose Garden.
Oh, okay.
There's actually like 2 beds.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys ever met Ann.
Yeah, yeah.
She was on that.
Okay.
They're still being maintained and updated.
And I don't know whatever plant that is, the shrubbery in front of City Hall, but that is attracting pollinators like crazy. Like especially this week, the monarchs have been crazy, the bees, which is good. I don't know what type of plant that is.
But, and this is the time actually when the monarchs come out and you're gonna be seeing them out there.
Yeah, I've seen it
Especially
in
in
my
the rose
yard.
garden.
Yeah.
So are you showcasing that info at all on the website of replacing trees and converting medians and stuff like that? So that people understand what's happening?
I know, Jeff Brady put some information out last year about the trees and the plants, how many trees we were gonna get, we're trying to get planted out there,
Okay.
especially on Rawhide. The only issue that we've been having is, the, irrigation and getting, actually, because we would have to, there's a whole establishment part, and then there's the temperatures that we're getting.
From streams, whatever.
Yes. So what we're doing now is actually, putting extra bubbler going directly to each tree. We just. That's one issue that we're having in, Rawhide right now. But now, from now on, we're gonna be actually, mulch trees. Before, we thought that we, had purchased bigger, size trees, which, you know, should have been able to, with just a regular irrigation, work, but
I think what you're saying is good, especially with this new Hoya Park. This would be a great idea to advertise what you're doing with the landscape. This would be a phenomenal time to do that.
Well, it also ties in, it leads a bigger discussion and ties into a lot of the things we're
Yeah.
after, which is water conservation and harmony between the built and natural environment. So we'd like eventually this conversation to turn to the residents of being able to have some ability to rewild their lawns instead of having these barren, pretty Stepford looking house, lawns.
Oh,
And have them and not be full of weeds. It needs to be a plan, and it needs to be certain, types of native grasses and drought resistant, but that will help with the water conservation. And if the city is advertising and leading the way, say, we're already there, we're already with you, and we're already trying to locate all the places we can do it, that
Lead
would
the
help
way.
us.
Lead the way,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't know, but I think it's very, very important, because we're sitting in a park, but if we're leading it by being conscious of the environment and advertising it.
and that's what we're trying to, with the new landscapes that are coming from, is using those, drought tolerant chocolate plants.
Yeah.
So is there any education in the park? Like, is there little like placards? It's like, this is native lantana and it's drought resistant, and like just any kind of informational QR codes, or just like, like when you go to the Arboretum, it tells you
Yeah.
this is whatever this is.
Oh, I like
Or
that
is there
idea.
room for that if it's not already in the
Um,
plan?
There's something in the rose garden, isn't there, like?
Yes, in the rose garden. We did have placards out there for actually naming each type of rose that we had.
Right.
But the issue that we came, was kids and
Sure.
pulling them all out or moving them around.
So so they're not permanent, like that.
Maybe something a little bit more permanent that
And you wanted one.
education.
So can we say that came from this committee for you to pursue,
She will be grounded for life if she does that.
to see if that could
I
happen?
could bring that to.
But all they're gonna do is say yes or no, but it's something I think that's worthwhile.
I mean, so many people use the parks and they're just out there like on their phone, walking the path or whatever, and they could just like QR code it and like get
Yeah,
some
when you see a nice one that you really like.
Right.
You wanna know. what-
It's just a missed opportunity, I think.
But not only just for people who are visiting it, but this also opens up a learning opportunity for the schools and stuff that need to do field trips or science-based activities. And a lot of these schools have green teams.
Okay.
Because we see them at Brookhaven to see the windmill
Mhm.
garden, or do projects there. And so,
Brookhaven, I wouldn't say, they used to actually volunteer a group, just before my time though, down in John Burke, picking up trash,
Mhm,
like that in the weekends, so.
good. Yeah, I think signage would be a good idea.
On the, you know, the risk life or limb, the Webb Chapel Park over there. I mean, I feel like that's a good spot to, make it like a good pollinator or native plant type area and make it an educational space.
Yeah.
You wouldn't need as big of a parking spot for people to get into, but it could have little walking paths, like this is this type of plant, this type of plant. And then it would still serve the purpose of just kind of rewilding the area as well, you know, for people.
I can bring that up. What if, let's say like the Rose Garden? I know, the person who's in charge now over the Rose Garden, is not doing the rose trials anymore. So maybe we could, in those empty beds, put also.
Native
plants.
species.
Yeah,
Wait,
great.
Please, I mean,
We'll get them.
my bushes in my back alley that had those phototinas or whatever that are diseased,
Genius. They're invasive.
they're horrible.
They're
And I
terrible.
spent so much money having them trimmed in the spring and fall. My dad, 88 years old, said, why are you spending all the money on that? You know, and I thought, done it for years. I don't know. She said, what do you do in the spring and fall?
Right.
And so they were dying. I was having trouble keeping them alive. So I just told the guy, okay, cut them down. You know, just cut them down. And I'm reading this book, the Lives of Trees. It's a wonderful book. And now it's a cactus garden and it's gorgeous.
Nice.
Gorgeous. It's an alley, the prettiest alley in the city, I guarantee you.
I know there's been some concern voiced by the city council members' leadership about the financial burden of stuff like this and also the aesthetic of it. So there are, I mean, tons of studies out in the world that show that cities that rewild and use native actually save a ton of money in maintenance fees and maintaining the vehicles and the fuel costs and the water bills go down. So the financial part shouldn't be that hard of an argument to make or discussion to have, because there's absolutely plenty of evidence showing that it's financially beneficial for cities. I think the more challenging aspect is this, we're a city in the park, but to some people, park means well manicured, not scraggly, not a lot of, and unfortunately natives have a life cycle that they go through their beautiful flowering stage, then they go, seed, they don't look like a lot of stuff, they look just kind of garbagey. And then, and that's the part of the picture or puzzle that I think is the challenge of how to have examples or areas that are native that don't play into that unkept
Yes,
narrative.
and that's what we deal with, we get complaints from, there's not.
Residents or whomever, yeah.
Areas that we, try to map website much.
Mhm.
You start getting maybe fleas, ticks, and then you bring the dogs in there. and
Mhm.
try to get those complaints.
Yeah.
Also. So.
So is there a way, right there on Oregon Park, the Valley View facing way, there's this very large bed that looks like mostly native
Yes, I know that.
plants. And I live right there on the green, on Rawhide, right there, there's several beds that, roses aren't exactly we're not the city of roses, can we not repurpose those specific beds that are kind of contained and create more different kinds of native lands, like maybe turfalo grass or whatever it's called, or, this is the Blackland prairie bed, and this kind of, instead of keep putting roses in, keep putting irrigation in, and they keep dying.
No, and that's what I was, the person who's in charge down at
Mhm.
the garden, Ben.
Yeah.
Elise.
Ben Solis?
Yes, he's over
I
there.
know
I
Pennsylvania.
used to go to high school with him.
Yeah.
Hi.
I don't know about high school, but.
Oh, Ben was in trouble.
Oh, Ben, guess what? Ben, let's see if I have him. I think I know I do.
It's actually also over the community garden.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how I know it. I mean, I've worked with him
So-
on that.
Would be the person that maybe could use some support and
Yes.
with that.
I'll get him.
Because there is also, he's also getting perspective on, putting more roses in and continuing, you know.
Wanting more, people wanting more roses.
And a lot of the issue that he's been having is, I don't know if you guys have heard of Rose Rosette.
Yeah.
What?
Rose Rosette is just a disease,
Oh,
the actual viral disease that roses get from the night.
Oh,
Is that the one that was even killing the knockouts?
Yes.
yeah.
That one bed that you were actually talking about on Orange Good, we had a lot of knockouts, but they just got infested with the.
Yeah,
we
that-
had to pull them out.
I mean, there's one bed right by my house that somebody has thrown moon glory clubroot seeds into, and it's just got this huge bush now, which is great because they thrive in horrible soil, but they're super invasive. It's gonna get out of control before too long, but I don't know if it's native, but it's nice. I mean, they've lasted longer than the roses that were planted there. I think 2 or 3 different cycles of roses that were planted there have been planted and died and then planted, so it's kind of just like.
Yeah.
What
It's
are we
just
doing?
an annual plant, but it does seed, so.
Yeah.
It's-
So like, I don't know if we, like perennials and self-seeding and stuff like that, so you have had pushback, it sounds like, about the ones that's that unkept. So do you have any like ideas or suggestions about how that could be addressed?
One of the ways that we kind of, handle that, because perennials, you do have to trim that back.
Mhm.
I mean, we could leave the bush there, but then the following
Right.
year, you're still gonna have all that dead from the previous year, so we have to bring it down. So one thing that we've been doing is just mulching after we trim all the way down. It gives it a better look,
Yeah,
cleaner look. And, but they do want to see some type of color in the winter, a lot of times.
Mm.
But that's why we usually change our, we do have some beds that we do change every, in the fall and spring.
I think what I'm hearing is that maybe we need an educational component to educate the community that, it's not always gonna look pretty, that natives have this life cycle, and part of the cycle is they're not as pretty. And does that make
Yes.
sense? You know what I mean? Because it could come in our newsletters, our bill, look, we're gonna highlight this flower bed and this is what's gonna happen to this flower bed. Keep an eye out for the seeds that are coming from the cactus at the top or whatever. Maybe we could spin that a different way with the marketing department or highlight. We're getting ready to cut them down. We're gonna mulch it. There's not gonna be color here for a reason.
Oh, yeah, I like that idea.
Or, we wanna have some flower beds for the monarchs to land in the in the fall and they're way south. So we're gonna make this flower bed full of
milkweed.
milkweed for them.
There's a lot of people that don't like milkweed, but.
Right. But they love monarchs, everybody loves monarch.
I'm just saying, I think maybe there's an educational component to it that, that we're doing it for this reason.
So it's for the kids.
For the kids.
For the kids.
Right?
Whenever you guys are making plans for parks or landscaping, there's are there already a lot of conversations about trying to choose plants that are native or plants that require less water,
Yes.
drought tolerant? So there's already a lot of that going
Oh.
on.
I've heard too that there's like an audit that goes on of the parks, like that there's kind of a rotating, there's a committee, I think, that was looking at doing that. Am I on the right page?
Yes.
Okay, I was just wondering, like, when those audits or reviews of the parks come up, if there is an opportunity for us to maybe insert like a question like, is there a sustainable element to this park, or just something to kind of start like normalizing that a little bit, or?
I'll bring that up to my supervisor and let's see what happens.
There's what, like 29 parks, something like that?
I need a little more than that, but yes.
Technically more than
A
that?
little bit, yeah, because
Okay.
we've got a lot of these like, Alpha Mini,
Parks.
Alpha Mini, Web Chapel Mini, Bicentennial. Yes, we've got a couple like that. That are different ones.
Yeah. But they're not really big enough to do anything with. Like that seems like that would be like the ideal place to
Yeah,
start
to
with
start.
something, you know, I don't know. Plant all fall asters there or whatever, like, just, you know. So you guys don't have to mow it all the time and it's so wasteful.
I think that's an excellent idea from what we've come out from today. Because those are small parks, not as accessible, more accessible for your trucks to get in and out and do their jobs there.
I think a lot of them, people don't even know
But
their
I can't
parks.
take my car.
Yeah, like a lot of times you drive by and like until you guys start putting up the signs, I'm like, oh, I didn't realize that was a park, a Farmers
Yeah.
Branch Park, you
You
know?
know, I see that Alpha Mini over here with the, I think it has a bench at the
Yes,
curb.
yes.
Think, well, who in the, is gonna sit there? You know, how can you get there?
Because
From
you
the
have to
trail?
live there,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, because there is parking on the other side.
Um,
That, wooden fence.
Hmm.
From the water conservation aspect as well, and as well as being a soccer dad, I noticed that Farmers Branch Park now is always saturated.
They, and a lot of that was for, safety reasons. We started getting a lot of cracks out there. We were trying to, put less water, conserve on the water. But then this, 100-degree weather just came up in July and it just started splitting the ground. So we had to pump the water.
Cause I mean, it's closed all through the summer, right?
You know, we actually do have practices out there in games. I mean, if you go out there every night, the kids,
In the summer,
Farmers Branch Park.
Yeah, they were out there.
were they? Cause I always saw that the signs were out that said park closed.
That's for the leagues rental, but I mean, it's an open park, so we can't really just close it off and we've got a track there that, people
Right.
walk. and
Oh, okay, cause we'd go there,
Neighborhood games.
that's the one, we went there once just to practice and play, and the sign was up there, I'm like, oh, I guess it's closed, so, okay. Well, cause now, I mean, now there's areas of bottoms that are just completely full of water now, and all the practice fields are sloppy and muddy, and so I guess there's no happy medium.
Or put, you know, the dinner, just, costs and,
They're overseeding Cox. That's the one by Vivian Field.
Yeah, cops, yeah.
So that, they typically have to water that in quite a bit.
That one, yeah.
But Farmers Branch Park, they're not over, he said, our Brown says they're not overseeding now.
Yeah, it's just that the water is just, I mean, it's right, we go there 3 times a week, once for his rec practice and twice for his club team. And over the last couple of weeks, it's just been, I mean, really like big puddles, low puddles of water in the middle of the field and I probably just because it was so dry, even if it did rain, the water probably just didn't have anywhere to go because the ground was so hard.
and they are gonna be cutting back on that water. So I believe, once a week. But now coming into the fall, that's when we start shutting off the water to our turf, except for like, buckets and collars and whatever we oversee. Like the dog park, we're actually overseeing it in Monday, so you're gonna see some water out there. It's only closed for 2 weeks.
The sprinkler thing, the water features will come on for the dog event.
Yes, and that's just that.
Yeah. Regardless.
That was just my question, because I wasn't sure why the field was so saturated with water. It's been like that for a couple weeks, and I guess I'm hoping that it's the mowers that are causing the tire tracks.
Yes.
Because last year, I remember someone got in there with the truck and then tore it all up, and that
Yeah,
was.
that was one of the events that they had, what was it? Veterans Day, I believe, it was 2 years ago. They brought in a food truck in there and they weren't expecting it to be that bad, but yeah, they actually got stuck in there.
Yeah, and yeah, it trashed the park pretty bad. It was a bummer. It was right on that little field where it was the one that we got to practice, so. Okay, well, that's good to know.
Are there any more plans to do the, along the creek, the Rawhide Creek, those riparian, I'm not saying it right, the zones where they're, well, where they're like should help prevent erosion,
Riparian buffer.
riparian buffers. They did one,
Use the rip.
they did one close to the library.
Yes, and then that became, we received a lot of complaints about that.
Really?
And, the manager decided to mow it all down and took everything.
Was there any signage or anything there to like,
We had a normal sign up there, you know, this one, Pam was here and I believe that's for Renee.
Oh, Renee.
Renee did that. I really don't know why they mowed it completely down. It was done to make amendments, but usually those areas, we do have to, because the grass is kind of moved down and then we grow in the following year. We don't want we end up happening. So that I mean, why we help. But I know we got the aesthetics of it.
the aesthetics of it? So again, so the aesthetic issue. I mean, it would be nice to see that maybe, I don't know, that's not fair, I mean, that's not a fair statement to say, like the city make a more concerted effort if there's more complaint. Okay, instead of the response being, let's tear it down, the response being, let's flood the information, you know, outreach so that we can let people know what's really happening. And maybe that's just because that's a gap that can't be filled. Y'all don't have the bandwidth, you don't have the budget, you don't have the whatever.
That's a marketing campaign.
Well, I know, that's what I'm saying, like, that is there's a gap, obviously, but why and how can it be bridged?
And also with the whole erosion, we were trying not to, get mold, we were gonna have like a buffer zone, down Rawhide. Because you guys have probably noticed all the erosion that's been happening. But we started getting, a lot of trees and grasses going into the gabions and then we had to go back in there and actually spray it.
Yeah.
To get rid of the.
Native grasses are more efficient against erosion than Bermuda or whatever the heck
They are.
but, you know,
You start getting trees in those gabions. it can
Yeah.
damage it.
yeah.
So. Especially the willows, those.
Oh, those are-
Yeah.
Those breeds. They're not good.
Well, we'd like to keep this an ongoing conversation. We're not gonna let up. Yeah, we just need to figure out how to partner with you guys and help with the education and lead everybody down that path. Because there's a balance. There's gonna be the
Oh, yeah.
well manicured, nice, neat things, and then there needs to be the other thing, and everybody needs to know the purpose of why it's being done. So, and I think there's also a way to make it aesthetically more pleasing, and maybe that's a transition plan of not straight to the straight wildflowers that can look like weeds, but maybe to certain types of bushes and just get them used to something other than grass.
Right.
So that they start not seeing
Mhm.
that, and then you put in more of the pollinators and, you know, add that in and.
And I
just keep
think
up
this
with it.
high traffic area here on Marsh Lane, this median, it goes from Valley View to Ridge Oak, I think,
Yes.
where the light is. That's a great place to do this because it's so high visible traffic areas.
Yes. I'll bring that up. I'm not over really the street areas landscape too much, but, I could always see what we can do with that. I know from, Beach Vivian to Valley View, those are an area that we are gonna be switching out pretty soon.
Oh, those rose bushes and the fences that are covered with rose bushes.
Oh, the Theas, that one right there, with the rose bushes, we took them out, because this was it. Right here with PD.
Yeah, from the PD to the
Yes.
Tribune, there's a bunch of, in the median, there's a bunch of those white plastic covered fences.
and
Okay,
dry,
decorative.
yes, that's something that we were looking into actually changing. Redoing that also.
Oh, good. 'Cause I look at that, and I think, how much money was put on that? You can't even see the fences anymore.
Yeah, fields are beautiful flowering, type of plant, and they're actually really well with, they're pretty, drought resistant.
Yeah, big time.
But, yes, they do cover those fences, but I don't know if you remember the roses that they were there, also at one point were almost 6 feet tall, and they had to bring them all the way down.
Oh,
They cover also the fence, but that fence is dry and lining, and it is probably time for us to do that.
another great idea.
Okay, well, maybe we can help with the education component. But I would definitely recommend that. It sounds like you guys are already doing a lot of things
Yeah.
but the residents need to know that.
Oh, yeah, I
And
believe
so-
that education is.
Yeah, I mean, but constant, not just once a year, hey, look what, it needs to be constantly in.
And like it could be more passive. I mean, like with the placards, the investment on the front end to get the like more permanent, established, anchor it in the ground type placards. Yes, there's an investment on the front end, but the long term the payoff of that is that you're, introducing a lot of alternatives to people in the community that might be open to like putting that in their own yard. Like, oh, that's really pretty.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's drought resistant. Oh, and it's a native. Oh, and
I think this Hoya Park is a good start. I know it's probably late in their plan, but that's attracting more people in the parks.
well, and
Lot
the
of
new
interest.
event center, I don't know if that's that's in the historic park and
Yeah.
that's got its own.
Yeah,
It also has in the plans to put a drum system plans there also, so
Awesome.
everything that from now on, we're planning to put drum system plans.
That's cool.
that's what we want to hear, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great start.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's go farther.
And maybe highlight some of the other things besides just that they're drought resistant. I mean, that's a great thing, but also if it's a native, if it attracts pollinators, if it has, blooms in an off season, it's a winter bloomer or what, all those kinds of bits of information.
And they come back every year, so.
Right, a perennial, yeah, like the yuccas, I don't really like them, but those little flowers they get on them in the springtime, like that's pretty, I can deal with that, I wouldn't put it in my yard if all I thought it was ever gonna be was this spiny little.
They come in different colors.
I know, but that's what I'm saying, when they're planted, you don't always see the bloom on it, you just see the spiny little thing that it is, and so sometimes you just like opening that information thread allows people the opportunity to be like, oh, this is nice. I could actually put this in my yard, or I could actually get used to it being in the park or whatever. So, and it's very informative. Things are.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Very.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's great information. Thank you. I
Yeah.
had no idea. I had no
How
idea.
many park people are there? Like you're,
Park managers or?
since you're so there's 4. Okay.
And then superintendent, which is Carrie Phillips. But the other managers, Mark Moffett, Ross Pittman, and Ben Swiss. And that's all.
Is Tony a park manager or is he just the supervisor for?
He's over the historical park.
Historical park, yeah.
And he actually works for me.
Yeah, is he a park manager or is he this, what's his title?
He would be kind of like a crew leader.
Okay.
But yeah.
Oh, big department.
Right?
Department.
Lot of park.
That'll work.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the whole city's a park.
I know, we're the city and park. Are any of our parks state parks? Or state parks? No, it's all city. Okay.
But we are, City USA. Tree City.
Tree City.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Urbana was big on getting that going again last year. So,
Awesome.
In the process of just, next month, yes.
yeah, you have to renew it every year.
Yeah, I was just curious because the new Proposition 14 that's coming up for big investment in parks.
The state.
Yeah,
it's the state.
I didn't know if we would be able to leverage any of that monies, but we're all city parks and no.
Urbana, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll stay in touch with you.
Anytime, whenever y'all need to, back and, you know.
And we'll share your number with everyone.
Yeah.
Any questions, you can call.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. This was
Thank
good.
you.
Okay, our next agenda item is, receive a staff update on sustainability initiatives.
All right, so Joseph presented a biannual update to council on the 19th of September. He's going to kind of do a little overview of that as another agenda item. We're still moving forward on the active transportation plan. I believe they've completed all the field work and working on the mapping right now. So we have a meeting with the consultant next Tuesday, actually. So we'll have some more information there. And hopefully from there, they'll kind of start to formulate the plan and then allow for some input from the committee and from the general public. We have events coming up. It's been a busy week in preparation for that. So a tree giveaway. Thank you all who signed up to volunteer for that. I sent an email, I think the other day, talking about the rules. If anyone else is free on Saturday, wants to volunteer at the shredding event, we still have 1 or 2 slots for that if anyone wants to. And then the Halloween in the Park, Saturday, October 28th. Right now, we only have 1 person for that, so we kind of need to finalize that if we're going to be able to commit to that event. So if you are able to volunteer for that one, please let me know as soon as possible, hopefully by the end of this week. So
What's the time frame for that?
that one, the event actually goes from 5 to 10 p.m. So the setup is a little bit earlier. I don't think there's a need to stay all the way to the very end of that event because we'd be doing more of a tabling. So it'd kind of probably be 5 to dark, essentially, would be the time commitment for committee members. So.
And I have a great costume planned out for this, guys, so if you want to volunteer with me.
How many
we
do you
can bring
need?
it.
2 volunteers?
I think we need at least 2 volunteers. 'Cause
Okay,
it'll
so
be like
can I make
a
the first
4-hour
one, please?
commitment kind of.
I was supposed to be the other volunteer, and I got the opportunity to go to Big Bend last minute on an all expenses paid vacation, so it's right during that, so I'm going. So if someone could cover me, that would be amazing, because I feel horrible for ditching out.
I'll see what I can do. Well, with my friend Jenny's party is the same night, and that's right, like, just down the street, so I might be able to even put my costume on and go and stay with Lauren. That'd be funny.
I'd really appreciate it, because I feel like a real jerk for changing my plans last minute.
Oh,
You gotta keep
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I mean, if this one doesn't work out, we can find other opportunities too. So we can kind of do the tabling thing at another event and get some more info for that.
So
So
I might be able to, Lauren. Just, cause it's basically just go with this, we'll just have our handout and just the information about the committee and
pretty much, yeah.
everything, right?
Yeah, well, a few handouts and kind of giveaways. We have those new recycling magnets and some different things like that. So
And it's a full moon.
So I think that'd be like from 4:30 to 7:30 or something.
I'll confirm on the time. It'd probably be, 4 to 7:30, 8. So probably about a 4-hour time commitment on that. All right, the tree giveaway, all the trees were claimed within 4 or 5 hours when they launched on the 28th. So we'll be giving them all away this Saturday, 9 to 11. On the water rebates, we had our 50th application come through. So we have processed 50 applications and replaced 61 toilets through that program. And so we used a little more than half of what we had allocated in the budget. So we'll now continue to promote that program and then work to expand into the irrigation audit to try to pilot that portion of the program. We're still running the Lights Out campaign until October 29th. That's when the peak migration season ends.
I'm sorry.
Till the October 29th. Let's see. I spoke at a conference at the International City and County Manager Association in Austin. I was on a panel and talked about the solar work that the city is doing. So I think it was pretty well received. And we talked about the solar farm, obviously, but also our rooftop solar and the solar switch program. So the bulk purchase program. We are still working to get these last few EV chargers installed. We had one get installed yesterday at City Hall. We still have the two that are going at the dog park. Hopefully will be installed tomorrow. Fingers crossed that everything goes smooth on that. The compost survey, we're on camera. So how do I phrase this? It shouldn't be this difficult. It is being difficult, and we are working on it to try and get that ready. So Pilsen Natural Environment Committee, I apologize for that, but we're slowly but surely getting through and figuring out a way to get that moving. We were also, on a happier note, I planned this one kind of accordingly. We were awarded $750,000 in transportation development credits. So those are things that we can use for as a local match for these federal funded programs. So essentially is like a $750,000 grant that we can use towards transportation trails, all of these different programs there. So excited about that. Robert's gonna spend all that money for it, I hope.
Yeah.
Or Ryan. So,
Checking them off.
no, I think a lot of that's gonna get used on the West Side Art Trail. Camelot Landfill Open House is October the 21st. That goes from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. That's run by Republic Services. So if you're interested in seeing the landfill, that's a really good place to go out and learn about that. Suzette had mentioned last meeting, but the Dallas College Sustainability Summit is going to be at the North Lake campus on November the 1st. And our next meeting is November the 8th. That's all I've got.
$750,000 grant money?
Yes. And transportation development credit is kind of how they phrase that.
I have a couple of questions.
Yes.
Well, first I want to say, if you think the landfill thing's gonna be gross, it's not gross. So don't let that keep you from going. It's not gross. It's just overwhelming. So I was at the rec center before the hazardous waste pickup, and I saw on the little reel of the TV, the little thing which was great, a little visual advertisement of it, which was great. I actually got online, printed that off, and took it around to give to my neighbors because it was a great little and so I was curious, can we not get something like that for the water rebate for the toilet? I mean, that's an ongoing program, so I feel like it should be able to just kind of be in the
It was on.
live show. And I didn't stand there and watch it for 20 minutes, so I don't know what all was included and what wasn't. I just thought that was such a great little place to advertise. So I don't know if the shred day is done up there, or if the water rebate could be done like that.
The water rebate was done during the summer. I know it was on the slideshow at City Hall. I'm not sure if they're identical at the rec center and City Hall, but that's something I can find out. But yeah, with our other programs, like we have the graphics like for shredding and stuff.
Or the lights
shouldn't be a
out, or
difficult thing to go
kind
up
of just
there.
add it to those. So it's kind of an ongoing thing. There was something else I wanted to ask you, but now I can't remember.
I did look through the branch bulletin completely, but are we advertising for the shortening of that?
Yes, so I can't remember when all the ones have come out, if there's one coming out tomorrow again. But yeah, we submitted all of the events that we had a couple months ago to communications to go out in social media, branch bulletin, and then we did some outreach. We did videos for the tree giveaway as well, so.
Great job.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Very camera ready.
One take.
Oh, right, of course.
Hollywood.
No.
We had to keep telling Mr. Brady, our communications director, that he kept asking if are the trees here? No, they don't come until the day we give them out, so. But he had all the videos, I think they found a tree.
Yeah.
To be able to go put in the video.
A little larger though than what we're gonna put in people's
Yeah,
comments, but-
not quite, yeah.
Now, the trees be given away over Brookhaven,
Yes, that's at Brookhaven from 9 to 11 a.m. on Saturday.
shredding that City Hall.
Shredding events at City Hall, correct?
What time is the shredding event?
Also from 9 to 11.
Okay, I might be able to volunteer for the shredding event. Just gotta check the calendar.
Time goes quick for shredding, because at least the last one we did in July, it's I mean, it's a solid 2 hour, you're on your feet, so it goes really
As
fast.
long as there, as I said, you know, as long as there's an express lane.
There's- The last two we've done this past year, they've gone really fast, so. I expect this one, because it's a little nicer weather, it's probably go be pretty busy.
There's no city elections with this one.
So for the tree giveaway, just meet you there at what time?
So the tree giveaway is, volunteers will arrive at 8.
8? Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, we're already full for the most
Yeah.
part, but if you want to stop by, because obviously it's Brookhaven, so.
Yeah, I mean, I filled out the form.
Oh,
I think, yeah,
do I have you on that one?
I hope so.
Or I know you filled out the form for
Security
the
form.
household hazardous, but we can talk after.
Shredding City Hall again, right?
Shredding is at City Hall.
I didn't want.
And if there are any trees left over, come 11 o'clock.
Any trees left over, at 11, people who registered for those trees will lose their claim and first come, first serve with proof of residence.
Oh,
So,
like, I have a tree, but if I volunteer, could I just get to the volunteer thing late?
I can, I also, I can pick it up for you.
yeah, I was like, we could,
Sure, my
we
neighbor.
could put yours to the side or something
Yeah.
like that.
And I'll bring it by or something, because I have my guys coming to pick it up, pick up mine and go put it in the ground. Like, well, I'm doing it.
Yeah, I gotta keep mine like out of the ground for a couple weeks, because where I want to put it, Corey has a 12-foot skeleton.
Woof, I'll put stones in. And then it's big ones. Fancy this one.
Well, you have tree guys, it's like.
I mean, it's one of my clients, he's a landscaper. So, you know,
Oh, I thought you said bringing up skeleton. You were.
and I was also.
I turned to her and I was like, she has guys for it?
She has people.
I'm the tree guy.
The next
I don't have
agenda
to do
item,
it.
the next agenda item is that discuss the sustainability committee's biennial update to city council.
You did a wonderful job.
Well, thank you.
I thought it was great.
We had came back, put it all together. We'll see if we can't show it up there. Oh, very good. Okay, and this is just a show that we have 6 areas of venues here, but the first 4, the top 3 and the zero waste are the 4 that are most important, and they have to be consistent with the economics and community vitality. Those are some representative questions we have asked ourselves. And then we have the built natural environment here. These were goals of increased efficiency, increased renewable energy, no harmony. And here's our accomplishments, both that we've done, but also the future work. So the lights out proclamation, recommendation of the solar ready and EV charging ordinances for new construction, and the promotion of retiring solar switch programs. And we'll be exploring the feasibility process. Transportation, there's 2 goals there. We have installed electric vehicle chargers. This time, I think we had, was it 7 that we had at that time?
Yes, we had 7 ports for the, public ports, and
And
now we're up to 9, and
Up to
then,
9?
Yeah.
Okay. And I talked to somebody, the chair from library. They would like some more EV charging stations down there.
I'm sorry, were you done with that one?
What was that?
Were you done with that slide?
Oh, yeah, yeah. In natural resources, the toilet rebate pilot program, a recommendation for expanding the budget for water rebate programs, irrigation audits, and then our tree giveaway in October. Zero waste, recent accomplishments was a sustainable procurement policy for city staff. Future work is promotion of composting and waste reduction strategies, and participation at household hazardous waste and shredding events. And what we did with this is that we took our 4 areas and spotlighted what we've done and what's coming up. Cool. Yeah. That's it.
Awesome.
When's the next one? It did twice a year that you have to do that? or-
Twice a year.
Yeah, it's the sixth, but it would be March. I don't know if it'd be the first or second meeting in March as it's scheduled now.
Okay, I think we're done with that. Thank you, Alex. And Alex, I appreciate all that you and Robert did to try and make that in that format.
I don't know, it was a great idea on Joseph to format it like that. I think it went with the plan very well.
The next agenda item is to discuss sustainability plan goals and priorities. And I think everybody could, I'll see, do you have there we go. Well, I wanted to give the results, submitted our priorities to the last time they planned before. Let's see. How should we do this? Well, there's the first 5 goals here, there's another 5 goals on the second page. There, I just give you have to keep in mind what the results were, but in goal number 1, there was 1 vote. Goal number 2, there was 2 votes. Goal number 3, there were 5 votes, so that was one of the top 2. The harmony between the built natural environments. There were no votes for either 4 or 5. Next page. There's 1 vote for number 6. There were 7 votes for number 7. So water conservation, we had 7 out of 8 votes for that. That's good. Now, we'll probably keep you around for another year.
Hopefully, eh?
And then, number 8, we had 1 vote. Number 9, there were 4 votes on the waste reduction and 3 votes on number 10. So the top 2 were the harmony and the water conservation. So we currently have 2 committees on those 2. So keep doing what we've been doing.
The big one, I mean, I really want to reduce the amount of cars, but that's, again, that was one of the ones I had to take my vote out for, but that's a tough ask compared. So. Not really possible.
Yeah.
I mean, same with the waste reduction. I mean, it's not, I talked to Shane after the meeting, which you did a great job presenting and answering the question. You know, but he's like what we already know, even if we got every household in Farmers Branch and every business in Farmers Branch to those like be zero waste, it would make 0 difference in the life of the landfill. So it's just kind of like screaming into the wind. There's not really,
I find that so discouraging.
it's super discouraging.
Yeah.
And then you add to that it would cost the city money for us to do any of the things that would bring all this residents and all the businesses to zero waste. Then it's just a losing, you know, it's just a losing goal. There's not really a way to package that, I don't think, in a way that's gonna be beneficial. But the water conservation one, did we have a chance to get the committee and the council and the?
Well, I've received mixed signals on that. Yeah, the mayor said I should talk to everybody individually. City secretary and city manager said you can't do that because it's more or less having a meeting, even though you're meeting individually with everybody. The clarification I got today is that, yeah, you can meet with each of the different city council members, but ask them not the same question.
But didn't last time we just give them this and they just voted on it?
Yeah,
But they're not open
and that's
to
what
it?
we started to try to do again and.
And they're like,
kinda
no,
got
we
it.
don't.
City manager said no.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I can ask, Councilman Merritt, what do you think is the most important thing we should work on?
I mean, can we as residents ask our individual
Oh, yeah.
council
Oh, yeah.
person,
Yeah.
representative, like,
yeah.
here, look, this is, let's look, if you had to pick something out.
Yeah. as long as we're, yes, you can do that.
Okay.
But you can also ask is, do you think, water conservation is the most important goal that we should have? Just a different way of asking.
Yeah. I mean, it just seems weird that as an advisory committee to the council, we're not allowed to find out what their priorities are. As a
Well,
body,
We can.
but I mean, as a governing
Yeah.
body, I mean,
Yeah.
collectively, if this council person's for one thing and that council person's against it, I mean, that's cross purposes.
Well, at this meeting, I tried to do that.
Right. But that wasn't, okay, that's weird.
Mayor said, talk to this individual.
So as you're volunteering in events, and you see people and that are on council, just let them know you're on the sustainability committee,
Yeah.
have a conversation.
Or ask them directly as your
Yeah,
representative.
you can do that.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, it
Yeah,
makes sense to me.
because I mean, I'm concerned, even though if I weren't on this committee, I'd still want to know what their priorities are.
Well, you could also have an in-depth conversation with them. You could even bring this with you, those right there, and just say,
Do we have that results in writing? Joseph, so I can just put in the minutes? Or
I
is,
just-
is that good?
no, I just calculated before I came.
Okay.
I wrote them down, so
Okay.
I'll update that for some minutes.
Okay.
But even if without that, we as a committee have a good direction where we need to go.
Yes.
And as I shared, even though we have 10 goals and we're picking 2 or 3 as the most important, we're still working on all of them.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it sounded to me sort of, and maybe I misheard the request to take this list and basically scratch off the ones we've accomplished so that all we have left is our remaining
As
tasks.
far as the action items.
The action items, which I kind of feel like they're just, it's an ongoing thing. It's not like, oh, check, we did this, we solved
We solved the water
we
problem.
solved the water problem, or we did this, took this one action, and now we don't have to, I mean, that's a very simplified version of what I heard, which is probably not the complete intent, but.
We have to sustain the sustainability.
Right, like it has to keep on happening, but is there places in this where we could,
Well, like you got your procurement policy done.
right, so like,
Yeah, there are a few that are
like we
like
can
kind of
like
check
gold
mark.
star it and see like, this is, this is what we've done.
Mhm.
Which now I wanted to ask that guy about the chemicals. He said the chemicals, he put some chemicals and I didn't.
Pretty sure that's,
Like fertilizer line.
and then
Does
weed
the-
control.
Does
Yeah.
the procurement of those chemicals
Yeah,
fall under the procurement
I don't think
agreement, or is it like a?
they're not all like organic or anything like that, but they all are, anyone that's doing that, they're licensed applicators. And there's a good chunk of it that's a lot more environmentally friendly than some of the other stuff. It wasn't, everything organic kind of thing, but there's a lot of thought that goes into when they're
Pick-
purchasing these to try to
Not all
find
around.
an option that's.
Right, I digress, I didn't mean to distract from that, it popped back into my brain. But yeah, like maybe there's a few areas that we could like be like, oh yeah, we've made progress on this, so we could put like a gold star by it and maybe they're, fulfill that request from the council to update this list.
Alex, do you have any other action items that could be added to this?
I mean, I think that a lot of the stuff, as you mentioned, is ongoing. So we'll kind of continually work on it. And so I don't really want to add anything right now. I do think that as I kind of look towards the future on what we're going to be doing around sustainability, this is kind of like the foundational, this is the start. And then how do we kind of, on the next iteration of whatever the sustainability plan is at that time, how do we integrate that more within city departments? So kind of this conversation that we have with parks today, how do we make that more commonplace? And then how do we also kind of build that consensus and that support throughout the community? So that's kind of the phases that I see. It's like the foundation, kind of the integration, and then the collaboration kind of thing. So I don't have anything right now that I would add to it. I think a lot of it's going to be ongoing. You know, so we're looking at trails and sidewalks and bike lanes. Yes, we're addressing that or, you know, starting to do that. But it's not, I mean, we're gonna be working on that. I guess it's job security. But like a complete streets policy, that one can be a check once we get that.
Right.
Well, maybe it's just taking this and adding a column that says current status.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
Or
either
progress.
started or initiated, or
progress.
ongoing, or, yeah.
Status. column.
Yeah, I have a document that is like this, but a little bit bigger that has any actions that we've done, you know, or something. So like for
I think
like
you
the
have a
light
page
pollution, I have a
The
proclamation.
focus areas, you have a separate page for that.
Yeah, but if they're looking at this big, long thing and they wanna see things get checked off, I mean, like we said, it's a few of them might get checked off, but really, they need to see what we're working on actively.
Mhm.
And it would probably be a lot.
No, it definitely would be.
And also just like the statement, like this is a living document, it changes, it evolves, it is ongoing, like just even in like your, I think maybe you said that, but in the next update, say, you know, like this isn't a static
Yeah.
thing, this
It's not
is
gonna
just
be a
kind of
bunch of
like
check
a,
boxes,
right.
I
Not a
think
grocery
there's-
especially if you don't tell us your priorities.
I think there's a need just to indicate that this first one's an ongoing thing. We're
Right.
getting completed. This one was completed August of this year or something like that.
Right.
Or the first stage was completed. Now. the
Well,
future-
I mean, honestly, yeah, just like Lisa said, everything's ongoing. Anything that's on here, even if we get some things done, minimize impact on natural systems,
There's always room for there
there's
to.
always gonna be more of that. There's always gonna be water reduction.
Right.
There's always gonna be reducing emissions. There's always gonna be reducing.
Planning more trees,
Yeah,
yeah,
always.
it's always gonna be.
All right, ready to move on?
Can I comment? Sure. So I remember several meetings back when we were presented with the third-party data collection that was done about pollution and where it comes from. And I remember I mentioned at that time, has there ever been any data collection regarding the timing of lights? And I think that could be added to number 5 as an item that can be done as an audit.
The timing what?
The timing
Traffic
of lights.
lights.
So for
Oh, yeah.
on Valley View, if you drive 46, you never hit a red. But if you're supposed to be only 35, but if you go 35, you hit every single red.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we should try and time it so people are being more reasonable, not more unsafe.
Right.
Just kind of on that, that was brought up in part of the active transportation plan, so hopefully we'll have a little bit more info on that. But that was something that was brought up from the consultant and to the public works director about kind of like the signal timing and everything with that.
That's great.
And not only does it save fuel, it cuts down on road rage because it's infuriating when you're just sitting there.
Yeah,
You can't, I don't know if we can just get people to understand what that funny little green arrow means when it comes up on the light.
Well-
Sorry.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, you go ahead. I didn't-
So if they want progress, then you could have like a gimme in there that's just about like a fact finding mission. Right? So you could say like, well, we did collect this data, check.
Mhm.
And then at least you can establish progress without it being like an infinite thing. Does that make sense? Like I've done that before for my own reports to show like things have happened. At least I collected the data, okay? I couldn't get anyone to do anything on it, but at least I have the data. So if anybody asks, you can tell them.
Brush my teeth. I've already done it, but I'm gonna write it down so I can mark it off and probably have it accomplished something.
And you do that too?
All the time, when I need a little like, you know, boost of like, I'm accomplishing something
Yeah.
today. Make my bed. I've already done it, but I'm gonna write it down and then mark it off. For the, right, the street, what'd you just call it? The
The
street,
active transportation.
active transportation plan, is there a part in there about the right sizing that you were talking about, or was that?
Yeah, so I mean, it's gonna be kind of, right now, it's sort of all options on the table as
Okay.
far as what the plan is gonna be. We're gonna kind of narrow it down and, you know, what we think feasible projects that we can get done in the next 5 years, what are some wins that we know that we can get. So that's kind of how we're gonna prioritize these different things, but I mean, it's kind of, everything is on the table with that, whether that would be installing bike lanes and taking lanes. You know, that report, that plan will show the data behind it. And then it's up to, you know, council or, you know, to make a decision based on that. So, you know, you can have the data that shows, you know, there's this many vehicles driving down this road. This data says that you really only need 2 lanes or 3 lanes, you know, and we have 3 or 4, whatever that might be. So it's going to show these different items, kind of bring that, I guess, the science into it, at least to help with that decision-making process. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean, if we're kind of open it up for anything, so like anything that can, you know, it might be something like signal timing, it might be something like, you know, making a pedestrian connection in one spot that connects, you know, big group of people. So that's kind of what we're looking at, anything with that.
Okay. Next agenda item is receive subcommittee updates. Built natural environment.
So the first thing we talked about doing is, some sort of, maybe at the, event, the Halloween event, doing like a cornhole game, but having it be composting and recycle for the kids is like a little interactive way to get people in. So that's one thing. We've also, kind of pending on the, composting survey, that action plan. Then what else am I missing? There was, oh, the
Peak migration season,
lights out.
yeah. And then more what we talked about, the grow zone, so. Not quite certain where to go in trying to partner or support parks and recreation, so. Maybe if you know, think about it this month and.
Yeah, I think there might be an opportunity, just within interacting with members of the Parks Board. I know that was kind of a thing that they were sort of pushing for a while, is having the boards kind of shadow or learn from one another and kind of like, you know, maybe attend a different board. So I think that's maybe kind of communicating with some of the residents that are on Parks and Recreation Board, because I'm sure they have a lot of similar ideas and as sustainability, you know, as you guys do, but maybe they don't know that we exist or, you know, what we're working on. And so I think you kind of can just discuss with the members of other boards, there might be some potential there.
Okay.
I think today was kind of a good start to, you know, for park staff to kind of hear, okay, these are the things that it's not just Alex asking questions about in the office. It's we're hearing it from residents as well. So I think, like with most of the stuff, it's slow, but it's just kind of building that consensus and pushing it that direction.
I think too, attending those board meetings. So if any of you want to attend a park board or attend any of the other boards that you want to be able to, public comment, just like you have for this committee, is your opportunity to, or, you know, if you have something, you want to do presentations at those, you know, it's just a matter of getting closer to the boards to see if it's something that can get on.
And those are on the city calendar, right? Those meetings?
Should be, yes. They all have schedules like you know, so park boards on a certain schedule, planning and zoning and all those committees.
There's these great little tiles at the very bottom of the e-newsletter. If you scroll down like 20 times that say when the next meeting is.
Right.
So.
Well, at this time, I'd like to bring up the planning and zoning, board. They're putting together a landscaping ordinance and a tree preservation ordinance. And, yeah, they talked about that today. My first thought was, oh my gosh, are they gonna be doing something that we don't want to have done or vice versa? Can be very potentially good, but we need to know what's going on there. And, their next meeting is this coming Monday at 5 o'clock. They're in the study session upstairs, and then they move down to the regular council chamber at 7 o'clock.
Oh, 'cause I don't see it on here. I only see it on 16th at 7 PM on
Now, they have a
16th.
Study session first.
Do they meet like we meet? I know they're more secretive because they deal with. Don't they deal with they deal with like a lot of individual stuff, so they don't.
Well, no, that's
Sorry.
quite,
No, planning and zoning does for like permits, people doing permits and stuff like that.
that's the TBC. No. ZBA, I think that's ZBA, so we're talking zoning and,
Yeah,
yeah, this is different.
okay, because I see planning and zoning, the only thing I have for them on the
16th.
is the 16th at 7 PM at City Hall.
They announced today, there's also a pre-meeting at lunch.
When they publish the agenda, it'll say if they have a study session, that is kind of similar to council, if they have a study session, so like the council meetings on the website, it'll say 6 PM. But when you click on that agenda, if they have a study session, it'll start earlier, but they can't take any formal action during that study session. That's why they publish the 6 o'clock
Well,
time.
I don't know how close they are to have those ordinances completely written and ready to go. But it'd be nice to get some interaction, Alex.
Okay. I will follow up on that and see if it's a little bit further down the road, if we can maybe have a speaker. I'll add that to the future agenda.
Yeah, November 8th would be very timely if we could do that. I'm sure we're not gonna have any trouble with it, but let's at least be able to give our input and understand what they're doing. Talking to parks here, there's lots of different departments that are concerned about, the aesthetics and what's going on here. So that's good. Okay, let's see. Communications?
Nothing to report. Does it sound fine? I printed out the little, hazardous house waste things. I already said this earlier, and I went to all my neighbors and I passed them out. And a lot of them did not have any clue about it. They're like, what? I can do this? I was like, yep. Sometimes twice a year. So that was interesting intel. And I texted all my neighbors about the tree giveaway, and many of them also had no clue about it.
I texted a lot of my neighbors and
Despite
and
the,
a lot of them said, yep, we're on it, so.
well, that's good.
Oh, yeah, they were, when I texted them, they all jumped on it, so a bunch of them were, so my neighbors got in on it.
Looking at the addresses, it is nice to see people talk to their neighbors.
You feel a little pocket around
Yeah,
Crisis
just-
Code.
It's across Josie.
I'm looking at like, it's the same road. I'm making sure that the numbers is not the same. It's like someone trying to get 3 or 4 trees and it's like, nope, okay. This house, so.
But I will say, I have a lot of neighbors that are Spanish.
Mhm.
And I did not have the Spanish vocabulary to communicate that little advertisement after I'd already printed this one. I had asked you. So I don't know. I will say, I find it very concerning that at the community center, like at the rec center and stuff like that, like primarily it's all in English. When we have like 48% of our population is Latino and Spanish speaking.
I think I saw a Facebook post that was both English and Spanish. Pretty.
I know like if you click more and you read the whole thing, but a lot of people do not do that. Like if the little placard that pops up on the TV
That's it.
is not accessible to half the population, that's a loss for all of us, like, and I understand that you can click on the website and it'll translate the whole site to Spanish or whatever. But like, I didn't even realize that was possible until I asked Alex, hey, where can I find this in Spanish? And I remember we did the wind farm video was in English and Spanish, which I thought was like so great. So it would just be nice to see more.
Yeah. The
Full language.
sustainability plan we have in Spanish as well.
Right.
And then, they are doing Facebook posts where it's like bilingual,
Mhm.
but on the video screens, as you mentioned, I don't think they have that. So that's something we can bring up.
Yeah.
Water conservation?
Nothing really going on right now, just, waiting for the next steps for the irrigation audit.
Yeah. Alex, is that back in staff score?
Yes, so now that that was approved in the budget, so now we'll basically kind of work on the programming, now that we know that we have the funding. Very similar to what we did for the toilet rebate, so we'll hopefully get that rolling before too long and launch that sometime this fiscal year.
And we did the full amount for the toilet rebate, even though we didn't use it all last year.
Yeah, so you kind of essentially lose that money, it goes back into the general, and then we basically get that $10,000 reallocated now, so.
Okay. Can't wait, we can reallocate that toward more trees, because that's such a good thing.
Man, it's a really popular, yeah, 'cause everything
Yeah.
was gone within a couple hours, right?
Yeah, it goes within a couple hours. I'm curious, one of the things that we'll measure on that is, how many people actually pick up their trees and then how many walk-ups that we have. Last year, we ended up taking about 20 to 30 trees, I think, from the event. We had to give those away at a later time. So that's one of the things is, is it gonna be where 15% of the people don't pick up their trees, whether we order 200 or 400? And then one of the things is just kind of keeping the cost manageable too. So I would want to do 500 trees one year and then only 100 the next year. Because what if we plant those 500s and have a winter freeze or a really hot drought? I'd kind of rather consistently go about it. But I think we could maybe look to, just given the popularity, we'll get some input on how many people show up, pick up their trees. But if we, finish the event and there are no trees left, then that's a pretty good indicator that we should request more funding.
Would that be something that maybe, because I know some of my neighbors didn't get there in time, but if they said, oh, I wasn't able to get one, if I say, well, show up at 11, because if someone didn't pick up a tree.
Yes, please do.
I'll do
Yeah,
that.
and they did that on I think the Friday forecast or whatever that they called it.
But they still have to be a different person than who picked up a tree earlier,
Correct,
right?
yes.
Because you can't just
one per
they can't
house.
take the
Yeah.
tree home, then be like, 11 o'clock, show
Yeah.
back up for another tree. Okay.
Is there a way we could, like, if there are trees that aren't picked up, like, roll that into the park's tree budget? Like, they can have them plant somewhere? Or-
So we've talked about that. The thing with parks is, so as they mentioned, that any tree that they're planting now, they're putting irrigation on.
Mhm.
And they also buy much larger trees than what we have. So they're probably buying like 20 to 30 gallon sized trees to plant because it has the higher likelihood of success. And, the smaller trees are more prone to someone running into them in the park or something. So they don't really want the small trees that we have. Those are kind of more for the residential, but if we have leftovers, what we'll probably do is just kind of maybe following Tuesday, put something out on Branch Bulletin or social media saying, hey, from 4 to 6, come to the Triple C. And so we did last year, and people found out, or the people that missed their event were like, oh, cool, I can still grab my tree. But hopefully with the increased outreach that we have and the popularity of the program, we won't be hauling too many away.
A small number of leftover trees.
Is October the best time of the year to plant a tree?
Yeah, October, November is a really good time because the growth is underground in the root system versus it trying to make leaves at that time. So it gets a pretty good foundation. So October, November, even into December are pretty good.
And the other trees and vegetation around it underground are trying to help support it during the dormant season to establish it.
Did y'all ever do another status check of the trees from last year, how they made it through
We did a 6-month survey and the results were really, really good. So very few people that responded to the survey. And I think we had probably about how many people do we have? We probably had about a 30% response rate of people that picked up a tree, which for 6 months down the road is not bad. And I figured people that respond either really, really loved it or their tree is dead and they hate it. But we really, it was 95% of the people said that their tree was alive and they think it
But
will
that was
continue to survive.
pre-100-degree weather?
6
I think-
months, yeah.
It
I
was.
think one of my neighbors,
I had
their
to-
October goal.
I've had to work my butt off to keep my tree alive.
Just like a lot of watering or,
Yeah.
well, I'll call you when next summer when it gets hot and can save my tree.
Oh, yeah. Man, I just talk to it every day. You can do
You
this.
can do it.
You got this.
You can make it.
Grow, baby. So it'd be interesting to know, because that, I lost a tree years ago because I didn't know how to deal with a baby tree, so people just don't maybe no. You gotta water it a lot more.
All right, let's move on to the next agenda item. We'll receive an update from committee members on activities attended.
This was not in Farmers Branch, but it was in Nacogdoches. There, it was really there's an interesting program they do at SFA. They have their forestry and ag departments. They have a fundraiser twice a year where they sell plants that they've grown, and they're all native species. And so there are hundreds and hundreds of plants. And I showed up at like 9:15. I didn't know about it. And I was already being told by everyone, oh yeah, the good stuff's gone. Because the whole community just comes out in droves and purchases all these
Oh, they buy 'em.
plants. Mhm. Yeah, they sell them
Oh.
for anywhere from like, I think it was like $4 to $12 is for all the plants. And they have trees too that they grow. So I don't know, I just thought it was a really cool idea. And like I said, the entire community was out there with their kids and everyone had wagons and was just like loading up on
Field trip.
these native, yeah.
Sounds like
these
fun.
native things.
So is that something Brookhaven could do?
Well, Native Plant Society of Texas does it, and there's a chapter that meets right down the road. They do it in the fall.
I just went to one this weekend in the parking lot of the church. It was
Yeah.
a native plant.
That's probably who it was.
Is that something that Brookhaven could do? Probably, we have the space to host it, but we don't have
The inventory.
Neil Kaufman would be the contact.
Okay.
Do any of the Dallas campus colleges do
Have
like
horticulture or anything.
horticulture or landscape design or?
Richland has the Texas Tree Foundation Farm, and they will give out trees for events. Giving Grove will give fruit trees. You have to apply for those. There are a few gardens, but they're really just kind of starting. After, when we shut down, everything kind of went to town. So,
The root
starting from
garden
scratch.
did. I will get with them. Stay with me.
Well, I attended the city council study session last Tuesday. Yeah, Parks and Recreation Board biannual update. Someone else gave progress of Joya, in the new park. It's supposed to be ready in December.
They're really working on it. It's come along.
Yeah.
They really kicked it into gear this last month.
Yeah, and it's been dry, so they'll be able to do a lot.
Yeah.
But new target date is December. They also discussed a street name change policy. We've had nothing up to now, so whenever somebody wants to change the name or suggest the name change, they had no policy to go by. So that was interesting.
Of a street?
Yeah, street.
Okay, you can do that.
Well, there's gonna be new guidelines for that.
You've missed your window to go and swoop in and name it.
Troy-
McButton
I did
Camp.
not-
I
big name after me.
didn't say name after you, I'm just saying, whatever name you decide, you can't, you missed your window.
Right.
Now there are
And
rules.
does everybody know that there's a national pickleball tournament,
Yeah.
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 November 5 through 12?
They,
Stay away from Brookhaven, Country Club.
they should have waited till after that to pass the Airbnb ban. Cause there's a lot of people coming into town for that.
Okay.
Well, But it's
A lot.
gonna drive up all the hotels, then the hotels will all be full, so.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Well, not that around my house, I'd say pickleball people, I'm sure they're very
Those
fine.
pickleball.
Do we have an Airbnb ban in Farmers Branch? Nobody, we can't do Airbnbs in Farmers Branch?
No, but there's the short-term hotel, regulation they just voted on, right? I don't know, I'm pretty sure.
That doesn't fall under sustainability. We have no clue.
But it kind of does, because it drives up, more people can't afford to live in lots of places because of Airbnb.
True.
The other item they talked about was a possible bond election for May 2024. And they talked about both a general obligation bond and a certificate of obligation issuance of both. The general bond has to go before the voters. The other one does not, but what was interesting about general bond, proposal, is for revitalization program, houses and things. But what was interesting, so much discussion about that, there was a lot of people on the council who were not in favor of this, so they wanted more information. And, what was nice is that they just thought there'd be a rubber stamp of approval of things that come up. There's a lot of questions about that. So if you haven't gone to a city council meeting, you're missing out.
Oh, yeah.
And, Brian mentioned about planning and zoning, about that landscape ordinance and, tree preservation ordinance. Library doing an awful lot. They would like some more EV charging stations there. Historical park, the venues named 1842, venue 1842. Branch connection, parks, all sorts of different activities coming up. There's that, Bluegrass Festival coming up. 20th and 21st. Christmas lighting is December 2nd. And the event center opening should be in March of 2024.
Is the bluegrass still have chili cook-off, or is it just bluegrass now?
I don't know anything about chili cook-off.
Didn't it used to be the bluegrass festival and chili cook-off?
It used to be.
Yeah.
I don't
No,
remember.
I think
I
it-
haven't seen the chili cook-off
Yeah,
advertised.
in recent advertising, I've seen that.
I like my chili with beans.
Different category. That's a soup.
That is a controversial topic.
I know.
I'm there.
Did anyone attend a national night out party? How did that
I
go?
had soccer practice.
It's good.
Like a good turnout?
Yeah, it was a decent turnout.
Did you go to the one in Marietta? That was the closest one.
Yeah, I was still on, Dixie.
Oh, Dixie,
Yeah.
yeah,
One
Dixie.
of them.
There are some city council people come out for them.
Yes, I saw her briefly. Our city council person was there. Yeah, she was there I showed up a little late, so I'm not sure how she was there, but yeah.
All right, any other updates? Discuss agenda items for future sustainability committee meetings.
Any updates on for the irrigation audit? The parts from today was really good for, what we were talking about the different park projects that we brought up previously. So Ravon really did a good job helping us, get that going, because we talked about, the bicentennial park and rewilding at Tree Bridge and everything, so that was really nice. But I guess just the irrigation audit is something coming up.
Then our next meeting is November 8th. And I have a question about the one in December 13th. Is everyone planning on being there on December 13th?
It can't be.
You cannot be? You're not gonna be here?
I have another event that I have no choice. Sorry. But I didn't know if it was appropriate to ask if we could move it or something.
No. Well,
But
my
you
question-
It's the thing.
But you haven't missed any.
No,
Okay.
but, I just don't want to even
You don't
start. I
like
don't want that ball to start rolling down.
The first one comes and the second one.
Right,
And you
No
know.
one comes in three.
Right.
Well, the reason I asked that is that, what if we had a meeting that night, December 13th, I said, and met for 5 minutes, just to review the minutes from previous week or the previous month, ask for a motion to adjourn, and then we're done. Could you still be there?
I could do it remotely.
December, like December.
13th.
If I can zoom in, I can.
Because I might give everybody off for the month of December, but I don't want to.
Disrupt the algorithm.
I'd like to have everybody there.
Gotcha.
Yeah. What we also show.
Would the meal just be a snack, like Christmas cookies and
You probably won't have a meal.
That reason I'm.
And Shelby's calling it now though.
Every month. So we talked about having a really light agenda.
Could be
I mean, I think
Could
it
it be
makes sense
earlier?
to, I think it
Like-
makes sense to me to help keep people.
5:30?
Yeah. I agree.
Give them that extra bumper.
Mhm.
Someone who appreciated it last year. I think we definitely. need-
Well, I wanted to give everybody attendance for December.
Yeah.
Dallas, could we start earlier?
I think if we're all in agreement on that, we probably could.
Yeah.
I'll make sure we have the meeting space and everything, but we could do something probably.
Your guy, you can't be here in person?
If it was earlier,
Where's your?
it's at Jesuit, so like 10 minutes from here. So if it was like 5:30, I could probably,
And we could also do a remote attendance too.
okay, yeah, because I have Zoom on my
5
phone.
minutes.
Well, what if we met at 5:30? There wouldn't be any meal, but we just couldn't meet, view our minutes, adjourn, wish everybody happy Christmas.
Could do that.
November,
December 13th.
December 13th, yeah,
No.
at 5:30, so 6.
That way everybody gets credit for attendance.
And for 6:30.
Any other requests for a future
Yes.
agenda items?
I have one for November 8th, was that the November date?
Yeah, November 8th and December 13th. November 8th, be a regular meeting.
I didn't have it here.
So I've attended other board meetings, so they know we exist. I've invited other people to attend our meetings, and I think maybe one person from one board might have actually, can we, like, we invite the staff, can we extend an invitation to like the board chair of the planning and zoning or the store, like, we would like for you to attend, tell us what you've got going on, like, they can make the presentation like they do at their board meeting about, the staff update or the whatever.
Yeah, we can
And
request that
then
too.
that way, because like when I attended the historical park meeting, I mean, it was great. I actually went to 2 different ones. And they talk about all the stuff that they've got going on and the board members are volunteering they're gonna be at this event or they're gonna help with that. And it may be that they just don't have the bandwidth to like take the initiative to come here and, present or to ask for collaboration. Whereas if we are taking the initiative to say, hey, tell us what you've got going on. How can we help?
And I think too, if you maybe go back on some of the council meetings where they've done the biannual updates for the other boards, if you, go back and watch those, if there's a, particular board that, I didn't know they were doing this, that would be really interesting, or there's a alignment there. Just let me know which ones kind of you would think, and we can reach out to, Joseph can talk to the board chairs, or I can talk to the liaisons, so can make that happen.
And we can we can find their minutes, right? We can
Yeah, I
actually
mean, now
kind
everyone's being recorded.
of what everybody is. Maybe we can drone in on very specific things.
I think that's great for us getting up to date, but I think for them to put like faces with who we are, like see who we are and, see our genuine interest in being involved makes more of an impact than us kind of just combing through all that information and in the spirit of collaboration, just seems like it might be a good way.
It was fair enough, yes.
Right. Well,
Fast track that.
it might also help us hone in if we attend somebody else's board, we are pre-armed with information. We know you're already working on this.
Right,
How can we help with this one thing instead of a, big general around the world?
right,
We'd like to help,
right. Yeah, exactly.
give you a solid starting point.
Specific.
Well, if there's no other discussion items, then motion to adjourn our meeting.
Ooh, I motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Lisa, for speaking up. Is there a second?
A second.
Shelby, thank you, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. This meeting is adjourned at 8:10 PM.
I had to take, full advantage of the power line.
It was so good.
It's so good.